All right, hey everybody, it's Carson Gordy, the Champagne Sports Anchor, and it's finally paid off. If you're an Illinois fan, the times are great. Illinois football just won the Citrus Bowl. They're 10-3, and Brett Bielema's bring back 18 starters next year. And then you look at the basketball team. In the month of December, they were 7-3. They had tough losses to Alabama, tough losses to Northwestern, Tennessee. The script is completely flipped. From unranked to 13th in the country. Front runners to win the Big Ten Conference, and they are dominating teams. In the entire Big Ten, there's been 4 games decided by 30 points, and Illinois has 2 of those wins. And I think that game against Oregon a week ago really opened people's eyes. Oregon was a 4.5-point favorite at home, number 9 in the country, and Illinois whipped them 109-77. You saw all the potential with the athleticism. The 3-point shots were finally falling after a cold month. And then they took on Penn State, back at home. This is their first big home game since they took on Tennessee in December. And what Brad Underwood was saying during the press conference, he knows he's got the talent to win games. They're going to win 24, 25 games. This guy wants to win a national title. And to take that next level, you got to pound people into the ground.
How damn tough can we be for 40 minutes? Get up 27-10 and have the mindset that it needs to be 38-12. We're going to put our foot through the floorboard.
I'll give Penn State credit. They've won 10 out of 14 against Illinois somehow. Before yesterday, they played competitive for a little bit, but after that first media timeout, they were outclassed. Their star point guard, Ace Baldwin, former defensive player of the year, averaging 13 points per game. He couldn't shoot. Illinois was able to take him out of the game pretty well. And Illinois just had too much athleticism. I know they didn't make a ton of 3-pointers. They only went 10 of 31, but the looks were there. Ben Hammerkaus missed a couple shots he could have made. Same with Will Riley. When you win 91-52, you got to nitpick to find an issue. But there was one big development. People that follow Illinois basketball know that Kasparas Yakichonis, he's the best player on the team. And probably, Brad Underwood's been here for 7 years. Kasparas is the best raw talent he's ever had. There's never been a freshman that's come in and averaged 17 points per game, good defense, and get 6 assists. We're seeing Kasparas Yakichonis. He's going to be a first-round draft pick next year, likely in the top 10. The guy's incredible. I'm kind of bearing the lead, but the point is he didn't play yesterday with a left forearm injury. And that is something that Illinois fans are definitely going to monitor because I know they beat Penn State by 39 yesterday, but they're a better team when they have Kasparas. The bottom line, you want him back. Brad Underwood did get an update on his injury status. Take what you want from him.
No idea. I haven't talked to the doctors yet. It's something that has limited him. In the 2 days prior, coming back from the Washington trip, and so it's we'll see. We got him. If we don't, we don't. You know how I am. Next man up.
And what's nice is we're starting to see the raw talent finally show up for this Illinois basketball program. Brad loved last year's Elite 8 team. Super veteran, good guys, good character. But when you can get a guy like a Trey White, when you can get a Kylan Boswell to, replace a guy like, a Justin Harmon, your ceiling's going to be higher. This team definitely has more talent top to bottom than last year's Elite 8 squad. And a guy that specifically has really stepped up that's awesome to see is Trey White. This is a guy that transferred from USC in Louisville. He always had the potential. I'm pretty sure he was a 4-star, but he struggled to shoot and he never fully lived up to it. And what we're seeing from Trey right now is that he can create his own action when not everything's given to him. There was Illinois players in the past that were super productive. A guy that I always liked was Alfonso Plummer. But the only time he could score is if he was at the 3-point line, wide open, and Curbelo passed him the ball right away. It's called a catch and shoot opportunity. Guys make those like free throws, that they're born to make that kind of stuff. But that's not always going to be given to you. When you're playing a really good defensive team of, let's just say, UConn last year, or you're taking on a Houston Cougar team with Calvin Sampson, you have to be able to create stuff when not everything is pretty. And that's what's nice about Trey White. He can attack the rim, finish at the bucket. Over the last 7 games, he's averaging over 16 points per game. He's shooting over 60% from the field. It is nice when you can see a guy not just rely on 3-pointers, but finish inside. And we've also seen that sometimes with Kylan Boswell. He's shown a little bit of flashes. We've seen that with Casper's Yakuchonis. And Trey, he's a guy, this is his third school in 3 years, but why did he pick Illinois? He told us a couple days ago.
For me, I just wanted a winning program. I wanted to be held accountable. I wanted to be pushed. I've always loved coaches like that. And from here, it's from the coach all the way down to the staff, all the way down to the players. So I feel like that identity is just here, with this team and the history of it. So like we're all stepping into that with a new group of players for this year, and it's coming along.
And just a last point on Trey White, Brad Underwood has actually been kind of good at predicting this year. Number one, he said this team had a higher ceiling than last year's Elite Eight squad. And there were some people in the media that thought that was crazy. You lost Terrence Shannon, you lost Marcus Domask. I think Brad's right. And number two, he thinks that Trey White can become one of the best defensive players in college basketball. He said something similar about Kylan Boswell before the year, and people kind of were curious if that could be true during that press conference. And Boswell's been one of the best on-ball defenders. We've seen him shut down Alabama's top guy. We've seen him shut down Tennessee's top guy. I mean, Boswell's been great. If Trey White can lock in that defensive prowess, this team's going to be great. And another guy, this is just so nice to see. December was not a good month for Ben Hummerkaus. He struggled to shoot, struggled to play defense, and struggled to rebound. Hummerkaus is a guy that came in with big expectations. And part of the reason why was because he shot 41% from the three-point line last year at Evansville. So he was a guy that Illinois wanted because Illinois wants to shoot 53 pointers a game. And, if they make 20, if they're shooting 35, 40, 45% from the 3-point line on a given night, they're probably going to win the game. But yesterday we saw Ben play great again. He already played great against Oregon, and yesterday against Penn State, he was 5 of 9 from the 3-point line, and he's rebounding a lot better. That is something that Brad would get on his butt about. He would stick up for him from the missed 3-point shots, but he told him he had to be a better rebounder. He did that. And we even saw Ben create a little bit of booty ball action down low, just kind of like Marcus Dumas last year. And bottom line, Brad Underwood says, when you have to transfer to a new school from Evansville to Illinois, it's going to take time to adjust. And Underwood says that Hummerkaus reminds him of Marcus Domask's development last year.
It's almost identical to the Marcus kind of footprint, really. Marcus was okay first semester, and just about this time of year, early January, just kind of started to blossom, and he's very good at that, especially with smaller guys on him. He can bounce. He's got a nice little fadeaway jump shot that he can get to, which Marcus had. But you start adding that to his ability to stretch the floor, and I mean, a couple of those threes were pretty deep.
And overall, this is a team that is 13-3, 7th in Ken Palm, 6th in the net ranking. It's become clear. They're the front runner to win the Big Ten with Michigan. Michigan's really good too. They got some really good bigs that I think could test Illinois' rim protection. That's probably one question mark that Illinois still hasn't fully answered all the way. But, there used to always be, a question earlier in the year. Is everybody going to go 11-9 in the Big Ten? Everybody going to go 12-8 and beat each other up? No, I truly believe Michigan and Illinois are cut above. And specifically with Illinois, this was a team where people were really concerned about its defense coming into the offseason. Brad Underwood joked that they stunk and they couldn't guard a 7th grade middle school team. And now, they're one of the best defensive teams in the country. That's what happens when KJ steps up, Kylan Boswell. I think Thomas Ivicic is getting a little better in rim protection. Merez Johnson is just a dog. It's incredible. And it's a team where you're starting to see the athletes be able to create for themselves. I know KJ's out, but he showed it. Obviously we've seen him with Trey White. He's been incredible. Ben Hummerkaus is starting to show a little bit of booty ball action like Marcus Dumas, which is lethal last year. So pretty much with this team is if they're hot from the 3-point line, it's game over. Because in theory, that's what this team was built around in the offseason. They wanted to get 5 guys that could shoot the 3-point shot. Will Riley, projected first-round pick next year. We'll see. He's been struggling recently, but he's a great shooter. Will Riley can shoot. Ben Hummerkaus can shoot. Kylan Boswell shot 38% last year from the 3-point line at Arizona. For context, that's incredible. Kasper Yakuchonis is shooting 42% from the 3-point line. That is also very good. Thomas Ivicic, 7-footer. His bread and butter is 3-point shots. He's not a post scorer. He's not back to the basket and do monster slam dunks. Like, he feels comfortable shooting the three. Again, I'm kind of bearing the lead, but the point is, this team has a bunch of shooters. It seems like somebody has to be on. And that's what's been so weird about this Illinois team. Pretty much since the month of December, they've had one good three-point shooting day, and that was against the Oregon Ducks. And they're still winning. That's what's scary about this team. If they can replicate what they did against Arkansas, if they can replicate what they did against Oregon, going 16 of 30 from the three-point line, if they do that in the Elite Eight, they're going to the Final Four. If they do that any game in the NCAA tournament, they're going to win. Great shooting, great defense, good athleticism. They're one of the most complete teams in the country. And we're looking at the schedule coming up. Big time favorites in January. This should be a pretty good month. USC, that's their next team they're taking on. They're 9-6. I think Eric Musselman is a phenomenal coach. I think what he did at Arkansas is good. They ran him out of town for no reason. But too many new faces at USC. A lot of old guys, but they're not the best players. Like Desmond Cloud, like he's okay. Terrence Williams is okay. They're 9-6, and they're Ken Palm 79th in the country. That's not good. Projected to also beat Maryland, projected to beat Northwestern, projected to go on the road and beat Indiana and Luke Goody. Indiana can't shoot the ball. They're not as athletic as Illinois. I think they could cause some troubles. They got some pretty good bigs that could maybe cause some trouble for Tomislav Ivicic, but we'll see. The one game that's a toss-up is Michigan State on the road. Michigan State's a 12-2 team. Really good defense, but the offense is very limited. They're very attack the basket heavy. So that's also going to be another good test for Ivicic. Illinois pretty much wins all those games besides Michigan State, which I think is very likely that Illinois could win that game. They'd finish 16-4 going into the month of February. Illinois is in line for a 4-3-2 seed in the NCAA tournament. And we saw last year when you can get good seeds, it sets up favorable matchups. Your path to the Sweet 16 is going to be a lot easier. Remember last year, Illinois played really well down the stretch. Were able to earn a 3 seed. They took down the 14 seed in the first round. And then in the second round, they got to play Duquesne, an 11 seed. So that was pretty much guaranteed that Illinois makes the Sweet 16. And that's the thing with the NCAA tournament. Like Brad Underwood used to struggle a lot in the NCAA tournament, but if you keep getting good seeds, the odds are in your favor. Something's going to work out and you're going to go on a deep run. I think this Illinois team is extremely fun to watch. I love the 3-point shots. I love Trey White's development. Boswell's defense just fires you up. He's been a godsend for this team. And Brad Underwood, I kind of said this earlier. I remember he did an interview with CBS at Big Ten Media Days, and he was like, this team has a higher ceiling. And the CBS guy was like, I'm not going to let you go there. You can't say that. Like, you're crazy. And Brad Underwood said positional size and shooting. And I think last year's Elite Eight team opened Brad's eyes. It was an old team. They were fun. But you take Terrence Shannon, Marcus Domask out of it. There was a lot of good players, but they're not as high level as this year. And UConn kind of showed that you need those 4 or 5 stars, those super athletic, tough guys. And Brad Underwood, I'm going to give him credit. The guy's a fighter. This is a guy that was an assistant coach at Western Illinois for 11 years. Never made the NCAA tournament. Not his fault. He was assistant coach, but he stuck with it. He was a community college coach in Florida for years. This was a guy that died to be a head coach. Left a cushy assistant coaching job at South Carolina to become the head coach at Stephen F. Austin. He finally reached his dream at 49 to become a head coach. This guy's not settling down with around 32. This guy wants a national title. That's why you bring back Orlando. That's why you get Kasper Giacochonis, Will Riley, embracing these guys that might only be here for 1 or 2 years. He's not doing the Bo Ryan Wisconsin route of, oh, it's nice. We got a guy here for 4 years. Great story. This guy wants the best players possible to win a national title. And that is the difference with last year's team. That's the difference with 2022. And it's the difference compared to most teams in the Big Ten. If you go up top to bottom, Illinois is the most talented team. I'm Carson Gordy, Champaign sports anchor. Thank you for watching. We're going to have more coverage of the Illinois basketball team throughout the year. They're going to be taking on the USC Trojans Saturday at 11 a.m. Illinois, if I had a spitball, They're what, 10-point favorites against Penn State. They'll probably be 14, 15-point favorites. Should be a good win for Illinois if they play to their standards. No turnovers, play strong defense, attack the rim. And Brad Underwood definitely has a good team in Champaign this year. I'm Carson Gordy. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.
Thanks for watching. Stick around by subscribing today and don't miss a single video.